Good morning, everybody. My guest today is Brad Smith. He's the founder and president of BioWave. The signal technology behind BioWave's non-opioid FDA-cleared pain relief medical devices was the creation of Brad's. They now are in use by over 90 pro sports teams and 32 VA hospitals. He holds an undergraduate and master's degree in engineering as well as an MBA, all from Cornell. Brad, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the risk in this interview is that this is too confusing for people to actually understand what you do. So give me a real example of a sports team using what you've invented and how they use it.
Well, we have 30 to 32 NFL teams, so I could pick any team.
Washington Redskins.
All right. A player gets hit in the field and has an MCL sprain, which is the medial collateral ligament. It's the inside of the knee. It can be very painful. It can be tough to walk. They will treat that player with BioWave to remove the pain. And it also allows the player to facilitate rehabilitation, to facilitate motion, so they can do whatever that physical therapist wants them to do much more easily. They can move more resistance through a greater range of motion with much less pain. So it accelerates the rehab process, and that player can get back in the game faster.
Okay. Bill, real quick, move the camera up on Brad so we get Brad's full face in the shot. Or Brad, move whoever's controlling the camera. There we go. Perfect. So Brad, is this a physical device that the therapist is carrying around with him on the field, or is it a gel? What is it actually, the form factor?
The device is, in sports, it's our professional model device. It's the size of a hardcover book.
Okay.
It runs on a large battery system. It's handheld and portable. So it could be used in a training room. It could be used, a lot of times the trainer will give it to the athlete and they'll carry it with them while they're in meetings or watching film. It gets used on an airplane, on a bus, in a hotel room, on the sidelines. It's very simple to use. There's no programming. Literally, it's pain relief at the press of a button. So we like to say it's athlete proof. And it's also a very comfortable treatment. It's a deep, smooth sensation. So patient compliance is great. When teams start using it, after a week, players are coming in the training room asking for the blue box. And all our devices are blue in color.
And what is it like? It's not like an ice pack that you wrap it and it's a sensation. There's actually like a massage. It's more like a massage chair or something.
No. The device, like I said, it's about the size of a paperback. The small one's a paperback book size. The bigger one's the size of a hardcover book.
I got the size, but what's it actually do to the?
So there's a cable connected to the device. The cable is connected to two electrodes. The electrodes are placed directly over locations of pain on the body. We can treat almost any location of pain. The device delivers therapeutic electrical signals through skin directly to pain nerves. An electrical field encompasses the pain nerve and blocks the pain signal to the brain. It works just like Novocaine, a chemical anesthetic, except the electrical field is blocking the pain signal electrically instead of chemically. Because the effect occurs right at the nerve, a 30-minute treatment can provide up to 24 hours of continued pain relief and functional improvement.
What do you charge for this thing?
The Pro unit is $3,500 and our home prescription unit is $895.
And is there any kind of ongoing fee, or you have to go hustle every month to drive new sales?
No, well, yes and no. The device consumes these electrodes. And so the electrodes are a recurring revenue stream for the company. And we have 3 different markets in which we sell devices, and there's different revenue models depending upon the market.
Okay, but it's generally they're buying an amount of electrodes consumed per month or something like that, or per year.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
exactly.
And my audience, I have a problem grasping this, so I'm sure my listeners will. What does an electrode storage thing look like? Is it like a bottle of Gatorade that like pours out, or can you see it? What is that? Is it a container like 5-Hour Energy? What is it?
No. The electrode.
Do you have one?
Are 2 pads.
Oh, interesting.
With little connectors on them, and they connect to a wire that connects to the device.
And what are those filled? Are those filled? They're charged with something, or they're filled with something?
No, they have a conductive gel that's pre-applied.
Okay,
and they stick to the skin, and the electrical signals go from the device to the pads through the skin directly down to pain nerves inside the body.
So the gel wears out, and that's why you have to rebuy it.
Exactly.
I see. Okay, and what's that cost that you're holding right now?
$15 for this pair, and they can
Okay.
be reused about 10 times.
And what does the
So
average NFL team go through in a month during the season?
They might go through 50 to 80 10 packs. So
So 500.
500. Yeah, it's 500 of these sets.
So that's 7,500 per team you said they go through that a week or a month or a season?
No, per season.
Okay, so it's 7,500 per team per season after a $3,500 uptime, like one-time sale. But I imagine they buy many of these blue boxes. How many blue boxes per team usually?
Anywhere from, half a dozen to, we have some teams that have bought more than 80.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's assume worst case. So 6 of these devices at $3,500 a pop. So north of 18 grand there in upfront revenue. And then you've got an ongoing stream of, call it minimum $7,500 per season per team. Are these your most valuable kinds of customers, or are hospitals or some other demographic more valuable?
I would argue other demographics are more valuable. This gives us great credibility in the marketplace.
Who's more valuable?
If we're in Florida and we're trying to get into a hospital and we say the Miami Dolphins, use BioWave to treat all these different types of chronic and acute and postoperative pain conditions, that gives us instant credibility. So, but I would tell you in professional sports, and we have 24 NBA teams, 24 Major League Baseball teams, and other sports and whatnot. The NFL probably is our most profitable because they have more players on a team. And when players get hurt, they order these through workers' compensation, and workers' compensation pays for it. So a lot of teams, when a player gets hurt, they just order another device.
Interesting. Give me the backstory here, Brad. When did you launch this device? When did you launch the company?
I launched it in 2007.
Horrible timing.
I'm sorry?
Horrible timing.
Yes. But the New York Giants were my first customer.
That's good. And you launched in 2007. Were you already working on it for many years? Sometimes these things take years and years and millions of development.
It took quite a number of years to develop the technology, run clinical studies, get FDA marketing clearance, and finish production units and launch the device.
So how much money did you put into this thing before you made $1 of revenue?
About $6 million I raised from both angel investors and a venture capital investor.
Okay, and how were you able to convince them and use your background to convince you to give them to give you this money before you had a product?
Two things. One, I think they were investing in me and my passion, and because of course we had a technology that worked. And I'd also tell you that quite a number of the investors had some type of pain condition or a family member with some kind of pain condition. And when we would try the device on them or their family member, they could instantly see how well it worked.
So you were able to, you had like a prototype that you tried on these people before it was clinically approved and everything.
Correct.
Got it. You're allowed to do that, right? You just sneak in during Thanksgiving dinner and stick it on grandma, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you got to invest in this thing. It's amazing."
Yes, we're not selling it, so you're allowed to try it on people.
That's funny. Okay, since 2007, how many units sold?
Several, more than several thousand.
More than 10,000?
No, less, like 5,000-6,000 in that range.
Okay, so 6,000 of the actual blue boxes at $3,500 one time. Now imagine with a hospital, you'll do group discounts.
There's also a smaller home prescription version of the same device. So, like for example, we're in the Veterans Administration. We're in 34 VA hospitals. So there, a veteran goes in to get treated with the Pro unit in a clinic. Pain clinic, physical therapy, spinal cord injury, and the VA is verifying that the treatment works on the veteran. Then, if it works and the veteran needs some ongoing management of their chronic pain, the hospital buys the home unit for them and provides it to them, so the veteran can get a non-opioid pain solution treatment, and they can manage their pain at home on an as-needed basis.
What's the home one cost?
$895.
$895.
Right. And that's a huge growing market for us.
Okay. And is the 895, so the number of home units plus Pro units total equals about 6,000?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Fair enough. And then does the home units, they also go through the same gel pads? You have to keep buying those?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it. How many total, this is probably be a big number. How many gel pads have you sold?
I don't know the number off the top of my head.
Okay. Do you model out though, like, when you sell one device to a hospital over the lifetime, that's going to equal 1,000 gel pads at $15 a pop?
Yes, but so the hospital and pain and spine clinic market we're in is a little bit different model. We also have a percutaneous electrode. It's a patch with 1,000 needles, but it looks and feels like Velcro. It's FDA cleared.
Brad, this does not sound fun. This sounds painful.
No.
I don't want 1,000 needles hitting me.
No, it feels like Velcro.
You can never convince me of that. 1,000 needles hitting me just feels like first off, Velcro on my skin doesn't feel good anyway. But seriously,
Okay.
why use that tech? How's it work?
Because the advantage is that the little micro needles pass through the skin and they bypass the impedance of skin. So the treatment works about 3 times better. It's performed in a pain clinic or a spine clinic or a hospital setting. And there's insurance that will pay for that treatment. And those percutaneous electrodes are a lot more expensive and they're sterile and they're single use. So
What do those cost each one?
$150 per pair.
Single use.
Right. So it's $150 per treatment. And insurance can pay typically maybe $450 a treatment, depending upon the payer. So there's a good revenue model for the doctor. And so 95% of the revenue in that market we're making from the sale of those percutaneous electrodes. Even though we're selling the $3,500 device as well, that's much more of a disposable driven revenue stream.
Yeah, that's 10 times as much as a gel pad.
I'm sorry?
That's 10 times as much as the gel pad.
Yeah, exactly.
So why wouldn't every doctor recommend the more expensive one because they make more money, you make more money, and other people pay for it?
Yes, generally it works really well. And
so why do people use gel pads at all?
Well, we don't sell the gel pads in that market. The VA doesn't want to pay the larger expense for those, so we use the gel pads in that market. Sports, they'll buy some of the needle-based electrodes in like the NFL because they work better, but they generally like the ones that are less expensive that can be reused.
Interesting.
They do work well.
So give me more kind of the composition of the business. How many people are now at the company full time?
16.
And how much total capital have you raised? Is it just the $6 million, or have you raised more?
No, we did another raise of about 1.6 million 2 years ago.
So 7.6 million total. Was the second 1.6 equity or debt?
It was a preferred equity.
Preferred equity. And why'd you raise that additional capital? What would you use it on?
We at that time we didn't really have someone to build the sales force, and we really needed to bring in someone with significant sales experience, and that's what we've done. And we built out a company and brought in proper marketing. Before, early on, I was the one running around making all the sales to sports teams and hospitals, and now we've, in addition to our inside sales here, we've got over 70 distributors nationally selling to pain and spine clinics and also to VA hospitals. Sports, we have a couple people just focused on the sports market.
So if you look at total, the needle pad, I'm going to call them the needle pads. By the way, how many needles per pad?
1,014, but they're only 3/4 of a millimeter in length. They're tiny.
I don't know, Brad. I don't understand. How do you make something like this sexy? I mean, when you tell me 1,014 needles, I'm running the other way so fast it's going to make your head spin.
It's you. If I open one up and you touched it, you go, "Oh, that's nothing."
Okay. All right. Okay, good. So if you do trailing 12 months revenue, the blue box, the pro units, the home units, the needle pads, the gel pads. I mean, generally, what size are you guys?
I'd prefer not to we're privately held, so I prefer not to give away revenue numbers. But what I would tell you is in 2017, we did 2x the revenue over 2016. And this year, we're maybe 2.5x over what we did last year.
Okay, that's your projection?
There's a huge ramp over the past 2 years as we've brought in this whole internal sales team.
Give me a huge range so that it's not ultra specific. I mean, generally, are you north of 5 million per year currently? Or south?
No, this year will be north of that.
Oh, good. Okay, good. That's helpful to understand. So you'll pass that this year. And how does a company, I mean, as an entrepreneur, are you the sole founder of this, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. As an entrepreneur in your shoes, I mean, I'm gonna make you think like a capitalist for a second. I mean, how do you make yourself rich from this?
Well, like the other investors in the company when there's a liquidation event. So either we go public, or there's a sale of the company to a strategic partner that can take our products and really run them at a much greater level through their distribution channel, because they're already in the pain market selling to the same channel that we're selling to.
And how do they value a company like this? Is it on EBITDA margins, top line? How do you value a medical company?
I mean, there's different ways. If you look at comparable deals that have been done in the marketplace with other medical device companies, specifically electrical stimulation companies, there's a price to sales multiple, there's a price to earnings multiple. You could look at how some electrical stimulations are traded in the market and what multiples they trade at. And if you were to sell the company, there's always a premium on top of what the trading multiple is. So that's how I think you'd value it.
All right, Brad, let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, what's the last business book you read?
The last business book, I would tell you my favorite one is The 1 Minute Entrepreneur by Ken Blanchard. I think there's anecdotes in there that are every entrepreneur can relate to.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
I would tell you that my father was my mentor. Sorry,
it's okay.
I get a little choked up. He invented the smallest gyroscope in the world back in the 60s. It was used as the inertial guidance system in the first Apollo spacecraft.
Wow. When he sees what you're doing now, would he be proud?
Absolutely. Yes.
I think he would be. I think he definitely would be. What did he do with that company? Did he scale that up or sell it to NASA or what?
He scaled it up and he sold it to United Technologies.
Ah, very cool. Very good. I think he'll be very proud. All right, number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night? Or sorry, number three, what is your favorite tool for building your business?
Favorite tool for building the business? I mean, I don't know. I have a little note program called Evernote that I keep all my notes in, whether it's new product development or anything I'm working on, and it's searchable from my PC and my phone. I just find it very simple to use, and it helps keep me organized.
All right, number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6 at best.
Okay, that's good. And what's your situation? Married, single, you have kids?
Married, 2 great kids.
That's great. And how old are you?
I'm 56.
All right, Brad, last question. Take us back to your 20-year-old self. What do you wish he knew?
I wish I had the confidence that I have today when I was 20. I think that would have enabled me to do more things better or more quickly.
There you guys have it from Brad. He would have had more confidence earlier on. He jumped out and finally said, you know what, I'm doing my own thing in 2007. He took his device, which he had no idea if it was going to work or not. He threw it on strangers that were related to potential investors. Their families loved it. He got $6 million. He's now scaled this thing, selling pro unit blue boxes. You'll see them on NFL teams, major sports teams all over the place, baseball, basketball, also now in hospitals. He also sells an $895 home unit. They've scaled to 16 people. They'll cross $5 million in revenue this year as he looks to scale the sales of both the physical units and also the gel pads, which you have to rebuy, and this needle pad that he says is magical and feels like a baby's bottom despite being made of 1,014 needles. We'll test that out one day. But Brad, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.